Excerpts from Courtroom Speech by Eugene Debs, September 1918. Your Honor, years ago, I recognized my kinship with all living beings, and I made up my mind that I was not one bit better than the meanest of earth. I said then, I say now, that while there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. While there is a soul in prison, I am not free. Your Honor, I have stated in this court that I am opposed to the form of our present government, that I am opposed to the social system in which we live, that I believed in change of both, but by perfectly peaceable and orderly means. In this country, this, the most favored land beneath the bending skies, a land in which we have vast areas of rich and fertile soil, material resources in inexhaustible abundance, the most marvelous productive machinery on earth, millions of eager workers ready to apply their labor to that machinery to produce an abundance for every man, woman, and child. If there are still many millions of our people who are the victims of poverty, whose life is a ceaseless struggle all the way from youth to age, until at last death comes to their rescue and stills the aching heart and lulls the victim to dreamless sleep, it is not the fault of the Almighty. It cannot be charged to nature. It is due entirely to an outgrown social system that ought to be abolished, not only in the interest of the working class, but in a higher interest of all humanity. The 5% of our people who own and control all the sources of wealth, all of the nation's industries, all of the means of our common life, it is they who declare war. It is they who make peace. It is they who control our destiny. And so long as this is true, we can make no just claim to being a democratic government, a self-governing people. I believe, Your Honor, in common with all socialists, that this nation ought to own and control its industries. I believe, as all socialists do, that all things that are jointly needed and used ought to be jointly owned. That industry, the basis of life, instead of being the private property of the few and operated for their enrichment, ought to be the common property of all, democratically administered in the interest of all. Your Honor, I ask no mercy. I plead no immunity. I realize that finally the right must prevail. I never more clearly comprehended than now the great struggle between the powers of greed on the one hand and upon the rising hosts of freedom. I can see the dawn of a better day of humanity. The people are awakening. In due course of time, they will come to their own. When the mariner, sailing over tropic seas, looks for relief from his weary watch, he turns his eyes toward the Southern Cross, burning luridly above the tempest-vexed ocean. As the midnight approaches, the Southern Cross begins to bend, and the whirling worlds change their places, and with starry finger points, the Almighty marks the passage of time upon the dial of the universe. And though no bell may beat the glad tidings, the lookout knows that the midnight is passing, that relief and rest are close at hand. Let the people take heart and hope everywhere, for the cross is bending, the midnight is passing, and joy cometh in the morning. Your Honor, I thank you, and I thank all of this court for their courtesy, for their kindness, which I shall always remember. I am prepared to receive your sentence.